Hey everybody, welcome back to another Deck Profile Friday. And yeah, this is going to be a little bit of an oddball one, as you know, this deck it hasn't really been talked about too much over the last little while, due to it being shifted out of the meta, right, so to speak. Not that it's not played, but it's just not played as much as it used to be in the hasn't really been played much since the Temporal Forces format. So hopefully that gives you a clue on what the deck is now. I haven't seen many of the new cards coming out in the Shrouded Fable set, right? But I do believe that it is the main card. I think it's that Dusknoir and Dusclops line. You know, the ones that spread damage and stuff like that, right? And, you know, with those two cards, apparently Charizard is going to be given, a little bit more of an edge, right? And so I wanted to talk about a deck that I think that can combat Charizard, which, it did kind of have, quite a bit of success in the Temporal Forces meta, and that is Giratina VStar, right? And this deck here, I still have this deck sleeved. I still think it's a pretty good deck, right? It just needs to, it just needs to be a little bit more. How do I say this? Like, not teched out, but just like it needs to have some better matchups in the field right now, right? And I think with those two cards, being shot up, right, in Charizard list, the Dusknoir and Dusclops, I think Charizard's going to go through the roof, and then this deck will become slightly more popular again. So, without further ado, let's get into the list. We play a 3 line of Giratina VStar, right? One of the best V-Stars in the entire game, right? Definitely top 3. Yeah, definitely top 3, I would say that. And yeah, this is pretty cool. So Giratina there, 220 HP, 2 retreat, no resistance, no weakness. The V-Star has the same, except for it has 280 HP. First attack, Abyss Seeking Search. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Put 2 of them into your hand, and then the other 2 into the Lost Zone. Pretty cool. It's a great starter. If you don't have that, turn 1 Colress's Experiment going second, right? And then Shred there does 160 for Psychic, Grass, and Colorless. It goes through pretty much any wall effect, so that's pretty cool. Right, great at going through stuff like Mimikyu, the one that prevents V's and EXs, right? Giratina V-Star there, 2 attacks, really good attacks. Lost impact, 280 damage. Put 2 energy attached to it into the Lost Zone. All right, that's all right. It's good at taking out things like Regidrago V-Star, Lugia V-Star. It's a little bit out of range on, let's say like a Raging Bolt with a Bravery Charm. It's a little bit out of range on stuff like, I don't know, like obviously Charizard, Dragapult, right? Stuff like that. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. And, yeah, that's Giratina V-Star. So next, Pokemon. Right, we're going to get into the core components and some techs of Giratina V-Star. We got for Comfey, right? It's there for its basically flower selecting ability. Look at the top 2. Put 1 into your hand, 1 in the Lost Zone. The attack you don't really use. We got Cramorant. It's there for Lost Provisions. If you have 4 or more cards in the Lost Zone, ignore all energy costs, and this is Pokemon's attack. So 110 for 0. We got Sableye. basically the last Lost Zone Pokemon that we have here, right? For its Lost Mine, right? If you have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone, you put 12 damage counters anywhere you like. So, yeah, these two cards are, actually these three cards are basically, this is what makes the Lost Zone, is these three cards, right? And these three basically with anything else, right? And you're usually playing up to 8 copies between the three of these, right? 4 Comfey for sure, and then either 1 Cramorant or 2, and either 1 Sableye or 2 as well. So, yeah, that makes up the Lost Zone. Then we got a pair of techs in here. We've got Roaring Moon EX, right? So this here is pretty cool. Frenzy Gouging basically allows you to get an auto knockout on your opponent's Pokemon for 2 dark and a colorless, and then you put 200 damage on you. And then Calamity Storm there, it does 100, and then you may discard a Stadium in play, and if you do, it does 120 more damage. So, pretty good. Then we got Iron Leaves EX, right? So Iron Leaves, yes. This is a very popular Charizard card, right? And with Charizard supposedly coming back, right? I think this here is definitely going to be played, and I think it's a great card here. Rapid Vernier, right? Its ability there. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, during your turn you may switch it with your active Pokemon. If you do, you may move any amount of energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon, right? Any amount. So the really cool thing about this card is you can just drop it at like a moment's notice and just basically get that auto KO, right? Which is awesome. So, and then, yeah, Prism Edge, right? That is 180 for 2 grass and the colorless, and then during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. So, pretty cool. We got Radiant Greninja, right? It's there to draw cards. This is the best Radiant of all of them, and it has been since it came out in 2022. Astral Radiance. Concealed cards, discard a card, and an energy card from your hand, draw 2. And then Moonlight Shuriken, discard 2 energy cards from this Pokemon. This attack does 90 to your opponent's Pokemon. So, really good. And then lastly, a Manaphy to prevent said Radiant Greninja from attacking you. So, that is it for the Pokemon, right? So, we are going to get into the trainers, supporters, and stadiums now. So that is the Pokemon line here. 6, 10, 16 Pokemon. Trainers. We got 4 Colress's Experiment. Right, great card. Look at the top 5. Put 3 in your hand, 2 in the Lost Zone. Double Boss's Orders. Right, nice Gus card. We got 1 Iono. Right. Nice card to come from behind, right? A little bit more draw, versatile draw as well, right? I really like having at least one of these in there. We got a Roxanne, right? Roxanne is super good here. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck, and then you draw 6, and then they draw 2, but you can only use it if your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining. So another really good card to have. And then our stadium here, just 1 Artazon to help set up and make the deck more consistent. So that is it for those. Trainers. For Mirage Gate, right? You need 4, right? You can get 2 energy cards, basic energy, from your deck and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. As long as you have 7 or more cards in the Lost Zone, and that's not really that hard to do. Okay? 4 Nest Ball, right? Super consistent, and this is basically the only way to search out Giratina V-Star. Pardon me, not Giratina V, not V-Star. Right? 2 Buddy Poffin, right? 70 HP or less, so this is only good at getting out things like Comfey and Manaphy, right? 5 Pokemon, so that's why we have only 2, right? We're not playing any more. We have 2 Super Odd, right? To shuffle Pokemon and energy back into the deck. 2 Switch Cart, right? Another really good card. It allows you to heal 30. And then you move your active to the bench. 1 Counter Casher. I really like this card too. If you have more prize cards left than your opponent, right? And then you can, it's basically a gust of wind. 1 Lost Vacuum. I think this is a great card in here, right? And I don't think I would change it out. It allows you to just, completely BS your way into, adding a card to the Lost Zone, right? 1 Pokegear, right? So the Pokegear, look at the top 7. And then reveal a supporter card you find there, put it into your hand. So that's pretty good, right? A little bit more consistency here, right? And it's pretty versatile. 1 Rescue Board. The Pokemon this card's attached to, it has its retreat cut by a colorless, right? And if it has 30 HP or less, right, it has no retreat cost. So that there is the secondary part of that card, right, is pretty important, right? Because it allows you to basically make that Roaring Moon that we have in here to have free retreat if they don't get it, if it's not knocked out, right? Coming down to the last few, we do have a switch, right? We both switch. We got 1 Ultra Ball to search out the Giratina VStar. And then lastly, you're probably wondering, what is our A-spec of choice? Well, if you kind of looked at the deck list here, it's an alphabetical and numerical order for the trainers, right? So like all my 4s, all my 3s, all my 2s, all my singles, right? UL, right? The last card that we had is Ultra Ball, so the next card that could possibly be is Unfair Stamp. And I really like this card. Lots are playing Prime Catcher, right? You can play Maximum Belt, so you can play, so you can knock out that Charizard with Lost Impact easily. Right, but I like this card because then I could basically Colress, Counter Catcher, and Unfair Stamp in the same turn, right? Hand Disrupt, Boss Disrupt, and add cards to the Lost Zone in the exact same turn. Like, that's so good, right? And yeah, it's a pretty deadly combination. So, but that is it for the trainer cards. Okay. So the energy cards, right? The energy cards, it's where it's going to get pretty complex. The energies, there's a lot of energies in here, right? A lot of, not the actual amount. Heck, I think we only play 14, but the different energies, right? It's a lot to keep track of. So 3 jet energy, right? You need 3. Allows you to bring your benched Pokemon active when you attach it. 3 dark for the Roaring Moon, right? The Roaring Moon EX, the attack there, both requires 2 dark and a colorless, right? So if that a third dark or that second dark is prized, if you're only playing 2, then it's basically a dead card in your deck, right? So that's why I'm having 3, and it gives you a little bit more versatility when you add cards to the Lost Zone. 3 grass, basically that same reason for the Iron Leaves. 3 psychic for the Giratina, and the grass as well is for the Giratina too. And then lastly, 2 waters for the Radianf Greninja. Now, I would like to add, have a third one in here, right? But I just don't really see us attacking with Radiant Greninja too often. So I think that, having 2 is perfectly fine. In fact, if we're going to be attacking with it, it's probably going to be really, really early in the game. Not as like a finisher. So, but yeah, there you go, everybody. That is the deck list. Let me know what you think. Give it a try, and yeah, let me know what your experience is with that. This is something that I'm just kind of playing around with. I'm just trying to make it, trying to be a little bit proactive with it, moving forward, going into the Shrouded Fable meta, which is basically the world's meta. So yeah, pretty stoked, and yeah, there you go. So thank you so much for watching, everybody, and once again, see you in the next video.